Hey, how you doing?
Good morning.
This is Kim,
This is Andy.
and we're going to read from the Urantia book, but first we're going to read Light the Flame by Andrew Harvey. Yeah.
August the 11th. This is the Prophet Muhammad. O my Lord, let security and truth proceed and follow me wherever you lead me. Let authority and succor from your presence be with me. That's all our for you, right?
Exactly. So God is the authority, right?
Mhm.
So let's always feel that we are subject to God's authority,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And people get so confused to think about confusing God's authority with the authority of preachers
Right.
who don't really have authority. They
Right.
have this much authority right here.
The only authority they have is what people give them.
What people give them, right? But all the ultimate authority comes from God.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
So where are we?
We're on paper 15, section 5, the origin of space bodies. Okay? I'll go for a little bit.
Okay.
I gotta position this good. Okay. The bulk of the mass contained in the suns and planets of a superuniverse originates in the nebular wheels. Very little of superuniverse mass is organized by the direct action of the power directors, as in the construction of architectural spheres, although a constantly varying quantity of matter originates in open space. As to origin, the majority of the suns, planets, and other spheres can be classified in one of the following 10 groups. 1. Concentric contraction rings. Not all nebulae are spiral. Many an immense nebula, instead of splitting into a double star system or evolving as a spiral, undergoes condensation by multiple ring formation.
Hmm.
For long periods, such a nebula appears as an enormous central sun surrounded by numerous gigantic clouds of encircling, ring appearing formations of matter.
Saturn.
Kinda, I guess. Yeah, but this is on the level of a nebula. So
Right.
nebula, this is an origin of a we're talking about origin of universes. Okay? Or even super universe.
Mhm.
Very little of super universe mass is organized. Yeah, okay. The world stars embrace those suns which are thrown off the greater mother wheels of highly heated gases. They are not thrown off as rings, but in right and left handed processions. World stars are also of origin in other than spiral nebulae. So you think of a spiral as having two arms that go, around here. So these arms are throwing off suns around here. They go like right like that.
Forming a
Spiral, like two arms and they go.
forming a planetary system.
It could be a planet,
Eventually.
but even like universe, like higher levels of things, constellations, just stuff. There's these systems within systems. Remember,
Mhm.
so yeah, that too. But I think here in the last one we talked about huge like beginnings of you know universes and stuff. But okay, okay, so these are different space bodies. So these are okay. They could be at like world stars embrace those suns. So we're talking about suns like solar systems
Mhm.
being tossed off of this nebula. That's what I'm seeing. Do you see that?
Yep, I do.
Okay, you want to go up here?
All right. Three gravity explosion planets. When a sun is born of a spiral or a barred nebula, not infrequently it is thrown out a considerable distance. Such a sun is highly gaseous, and subsequently, after it has somewhat cooled and condensed, it may chance to swing near some enormous mass of matter, a gigantic sun or a dark island of space. Such an approach may not be near enough to result in collision, but still near enough to allow the gravity pull of the greater body to start tidal convulsions in the lesser, thus initiating a series of tidal upheavals which occur simultaneously on opposite sides of the convulsed sun. At their height,
Yep.
these explosive eruptions produce a series of varying sized aggregations of matter which may be projected beyond the gravity reclamation zone of the erupting sun, thus becoming stabilized in orbits of their own around one of the two bodies concerned in this episode.
Hmm.
Later on, the larger collection of matter unite and gradually draw the smaller bodies to themselves. In this way, many of the solid planets of the lesser system are brought into existence. Your own solar system had just such an origin. Really?
Okay.
Our own,
Our own
gravity
system.
explosion
Yeah.
planets.
So the sun is born of a spiral, and it's thrown out a considerable distance, and then it can, yeah. Okay. So such an approach may not be near enough to result in collision. So then it's thrown off, and then it may chance to come enormous. And that's true. Something happened like to Monmesha. Monmesha is our solar system,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So something came through and kind of like pulled at it or something. Yeah. Starting, thus initiating a series of tidal upheavals. Okay. And then at their height, those are explosive interruptions produce like the planets come off like that.
Mhm.
I don't know. What do you think?
I hadn't heard that before, but it sounds feasible, I guess.
Should I go, or do you want to keep
I'll
going?
go. 4.
Okay.
Centrifugal planetary daughters. Enormous suns, when in certain stages of development, and if their revolutionary rate greatly accelerates, begin to throw off large quantities of matter which may subsequently be assembled to form small worlds that continue to encircle the parent sun.
Okay. Okay. So that makes sense, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
5. Gravity deficiency spheres. There is a critical limit to the size of individual stars. When a sun reaches this limit, unless it slows down in revolutionary rate, it is doomed to split. Sun fission occurs and a new double star of this variety is born. Numerous small planets may be subsequently formed as a byproduct of this gigantic disruption. Wow.
So we're talking about huge, like stellar events in
Mhm.
space to make these things.
Contractual stars. In the smaller systems, the largest outer planet sometimes draws to itself its neighboring worlds, while those planets near the sun begin their terminal plunge. With your solar system, such an end would mean that the 4 inner planets would be claimed by the sun, while
Right.
the major planet, Jupiter, would be greatly enlarged by capturing the remaining worlds. Such an end of a solar system would result in the production of 2 adjacent but unequal suns, one type of double star formation. Such catastrophes are infrequent, except out in the fringe of the superuniverse starry aggregations.
Right. So like they're saying like so the sun, it could like fight with Jupiter, right? So the Jupiter would have the other planets outside of that, and then
Well, we know that the sun is going to go through a phase of expanding,
expansion.
so it's going to eat Venus, Mercury, and Earth. But I
No.
hadn't heard
Okay.
about the possibility of Jupiter
I know.
assum- consuming the smaller outer planets like Uranus and Pluto.
And they would be like, well, I think this is just an occurrence. I don't think
Yeah.
this So if this could happen,
Mhm.
then you'd end up with two like rival suns, and you could have like a binary star system.
Right,
Is that what we're talking about?
right.
These grapes are so awesome. Okay,
You go.
7. Cumulative spheres. Okay, so I'm going to read, so I can't eat that one.
Okay.
Cumulative spheres. From the vast quantity of matter circulating in space, small planets may slowly accumulate. They grow by meteoric accretion and by minor collisions. In certain sectors of space, conditions favor such forms of planetary birth. Many an inhabited world has had such an origin. Some of the dense dark islands are the direct result of the accretions of transmuting energy in space. Another group of these dark islands have come into being by the accumulation of enormous quantities of cold matter, mere fragments and meteors circulating through space. Such aggregations of matter have never been hot and, except for density, are in composition very similar to Urantia. Huh.
Interesting.
8. Burned out suns. Some of the dark islands of space are burned out isolated suns, all available space energy having been emitted. The organized units of matter approximate the full condensation, virtual complete consolidation, and it requires ages upon ages for such enormous masses of highly condensed matter to be recharged in the circuits of space, and thus to be prepared for new cycles of universe function following a collision or some equally revivifying cosmic happening.
So is that a black hole?
I don't think it's a black hole, but it's like a dark spot. I don't know. It could be. It's a burned out sun, like a dwarf.
Or when suns burn out, don't they go nova and flash?
Sometimes it's like they can have a couple different things can happen to them. You know what? And I'm not an astronomer. Gosh, you know.
Not an astrophysicist.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not. I don't know.
Haven't gotten to that yet.
Okay. All right, all right.
Okay.
Okay, where are we at? Okay, okay, okay. Do you go? You want to go? You
I'll
want to
go.
finish it up? Okay.
Collisional spheres.
Spheres.
In those regions of thicker clustering, collisions are not uncommon. Such an astronomic readjustment is accompanied by tremendous energy changes and matter transmutations. Collisions involving dead suns are peculiarly influential in creating widespread energy fluctuations. Collisional debris often constitutes the material nucleuses for the subsequent formation of planetary bodies adapted to mortal habitation.
Okay.
10. Architectural
This
worlds.
is a cool one.
These are the worlds which are built according to plans and specifications for some special purpose, such as Selvington, the headquarters of your local universe, and Uversa, the seat of government of our superuniverse.
Yeah. Architectural spheres.
There are numerous other techniques for evolving suns and segregating planets, but the foregoing procedures suggest the methods whereby the vast majority of stellar systems and planetary families are brought into existence. Various techniques involved in stellar metamorphosis and planetary evolution would require the narration of almost 100 different modes of sun formation and planetary
Wow.
origin.
You know what? I want to just comment here because it says here to undertake to describe all the various techniques. So these things we tend to think of it as natural occurrences,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Like in nature.
Right.
but in reality, these are techniques used by the power directors and energy controllers, and so
Okay.
God has these kind of techniques kind of in his toolbox
Hmm.
to make like all these different patterns of reality and stuff.
As your star students scan the heavens, they will observe phenomena indicative of all these modes of stellar evolution, but they will still seldom detect evidence of the formation of those small, non-luminous collections of matter, which serve as inhabited planets, the most important of the vast material creations.
Yeah, and that's the end of it.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Wow.
yeah. So it says here, I'm going to go back to the black hole thing here, and I just want to say here, so when a sun collapses like that or is burned out here, it's like a highly dense thing. It might be like a black hole, but it says it requires ages upon ages for such enormous masses of highly condensed matter to be recharged in the circuits of space and time, and that's to be prepared for new cycles. So it's like it's not the end of it. So it's like it's accumulating stuff,
Right.
but eventually it's going to accumulate enough stuff so that it will be luminous again.
So eventually a black hole becomes something other than a black hole.
Yeah,
Like it explodes again and sends all the matter that's accumulated back
yeah,
out.
that's right. It says, well, it takes ages upon ages for these things to be recharged in the circuits of space. And this is paragraph 8, back to paragraph 8, burned out suns, kind of the end of the paragraph here. Yep, to be prepared for new cycles of universe function.
Maybe there's a point at which a black hole cannot attract any more matter. Something has to happen.
Maybe something like that. Well, these are things, and we scientists here, we're trying to figure this out, but we don't know.
Mhm.
I mean, that doesn't invalidate science at all, but we just have to understand that there's so much that we don't know. And yeah, when they're trying to figure stuff out, yeah.
Wow.
And these are just like a few of the methods here that they do, the techniques of creating
Mhm.
these space bodies.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Technique implies
control.
like somebody
Somebody's doing
using the
it.
technique. Right.
Somebody's doing it.
Right. That's big.
That's awesome. Okay. All right. All right, guys. There it is for today. Thank you very much. All right. Have a great Wednesday. Love y'all.
Love you. Have a great Wednesday.
Okay.
Bye now.
Bye. Okay.